Good evening, tutor and inmates. My name is Ana Paola Carrera Ruiz, and I'm going to explain my portfolio that I created in this course. And right now, you're watching my portfolio about autonomy on language learning environments. In the first part, the activity first, I was leading questions in order to put in practice in my process in this course. At the end of this course, my parallel case study, Diana and me had to answer them. In the second activity about autonomy for lifelong learning, I was answering some questions related to the autonomy, related that how has autonomy contributed to your own human development as an autonomous person, as an autonomous learner, as an autonomous communicator, and no more in this part of my portfolio. And in this activity, I was answering these interesting and important questions in order to think about how I have improved my knowledge in this part of the autonomy. In the activity third, I had to describe the characteristics of autonomous language learners, and my parallel case study, Diana, had to answer this form in order to know how she has put in practice the autonomous in her process as a teacher. And I was going to write a reflection about the information found out in the checklist. And in this part, it is evident that the teacher Diana had the goal of teaching autonomous learning in the classroom, since the activities that the students carry out autonomously must be guided and supervised by the teacher in order to act at the moment of the process in which problems are detected. And it is the most important that in order for the students to acquire knowledge autonomously, they must work in a guided way to achieve a specific learning objective, and the teacher designs a specific activity in order to achieve, that is to require students to develop a reflection process so that they are aware of their own way of learning. In the activity 4, about metacognitive process and language learning, I was going to compare different kind of topics with my parallel case Diana in order to answer different topics about the autonomous learning, such as preparing and planning for learning, selecting and using learning strategies, monitoring strategy use, orchestrating various strategies, and evaluating the strategy use and learning. And my parallel case Diana had to answer these themes in order to know about more that her process. In the activity 5, learning environment for language learning, I had to compare my process with her in different kind of aspects, such as internal factors, external factors, human, physical, social, and cultural factors, in order to know about more of her process and her thoughts about the autonomous learning. In the activity 6, I had to answer the questions. Remember that at the beginning of the of this activity, of this portfolio, I have to formulate different kind of questions in order to answer at the end of this course. And right now, you are watching the answers to these questions, like a conclusions, and I'm going to conclude about this process. I'm going to conclude about this portfolio in my process as a teacher. And thanks to this activity tutor, because this activity, with this activity I was able to, let me see this part at the beginning of my portfolio. Let me see what is the activity. Pairs. Okay, wait, because I know leading questions, the activity to autonomy for, oh my god, my portfolio. Okay, this part, autonomy and language learning environments. The purpose of this portfolio was to carry out an investigation of two profiles that are fluent in the English language, whether they are learning of the language or are in the educational process of this language. I will study of two cases to show how the autonomous process has been in the learning this language. And I will share the two profiles, one of a professional teacher in the English language and my profile. And in this portfolio, thank you to this activity tutor, because I was able to reflect on my own teaching activity and the self-analysis of my own experience compared to my parallel case study. The comparison of the results of this process can clarify many aspects that characterize my teaching style, reveal the interrelationships between my predominant methodology and my learning styles. Comparing myself with my partner helps me to realize the possible flaws in my methodology and indicates ways to improve it. And these comparisons of processes are strictly linked, since in the almost everything we think and manage the same teaching learning process. My parallel case contributes a lot and enrich my professional reflections, which in this case becomes much broader, deeper, and more beneficial. And this digital portfolio was an excellent platform through which the development of autonomous process between my partner will be modified, and as a reflections of students on their participation in the teaching learning process will be modified. Thanks to this more technological tool, as it was a portfolio, I was able to make evident the academic and formative growth in my process. This same word was consolidated and allowed me to recognize my own learning process. In this portfolio, there is evidence in digital support that shows the development, evolution, and achievements of my parallel case and my process in teaching autonomous learning. And today I can conclude that with this portfolio I was able to recognize the importance of autonomy to better understand the educational process and to make decisions aimed at improving the achievement of educational objectives. And there are several activities that I use in the classroom, such as cooperative learning, a structured group work approach that makes the teaching learning process, since autonomy is the ability to control one's own learning and therefore an individual process. Respect, self-discipline, responsibility, and commitment to oneself, to others, to the institution to which one belongs, and to society are essential for its development. In the same way, tutor, I also like to strengthen the case study, since it is based on the explanation of topics based on real examples. Also in class, I try to ensure that the students learn in the different ways using advanced technology tools, and having an autonomous active learning is very useful since students enjoy greater involvement, attention, motivation, and work with perseverance in their own evolution. To strengthen autonomous learning in my students and achieve the proposed objectives, and can provide them with several tools that can make this happen, such as applications to learn another language, free online courses, interactive platforms, music in English, digital libraries, so on, or videos and series in English. Taking advantage of books that school request to strengthen the learning in a second language, Pictionary, flashcards, among others. And to conclude, the digital portfolio was an excellent platform through which the development of an autonomous process between my parents will be modified, and a self-reflection of students of their participation in the teaching learning process will be modified. Thanks to these technology tools, as it was a portfolio, I was able to make evident the academic and formative growth in my process. This same work was consolidated and allowed me to recognize my own learning process. In this portfolio, there is evidence in digital support that shows the development, evolution, and achievement of my parallel case in my process in teaching autonomous learning. I can conclude that with this portfolio, I was able to recognize the importance of autonomy to better understand the educational process and to make decisions and improve the achievement of educational objectives. That is all for today, tutor, and thank you for your attention to my video. Thank you for your attention to this course, and I'm going to improve my knowledge. I'm going to acquire more knowledge about the autonomous learning in order to put in practice in my process as a teacher. Blessings.